Good morning, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, my contemplative time this morning has been all about righteousness. And righteousness, of course, is about things that are morally right. And morally right, in my perspective, also matches truth. Now, not truth from a particular perspective, a truth which is truth from any perspective, to me, is what would be considered morally right. That there would be no doubt that this is morally right. So, in that sort of way, that was my contemplative time this morning, and I came across a few quotes to share with you. So, the first one that I came across is by Sri Aurobindo, and this quotation says, "It is easy to distinguish the evil worked by sin and vice, but the trained eye sees also the evil done by self righteous or self regarding virtue." And I really like this quotation because of the depth of it. I suspect we all know people who really feel right. So self righteous is a little bit different than just righteous, right? So if we just think about morally right. But of course, self righteous energies can arise in different groups and communities and people individually too, where they really feel right. This is right. Anyone would be able to see this is right. So, for example, what came to my mind is I was working with a client for many, many years. And there was a point after I had learned grief recovery and got certified, and I had asked her if I could speak at her church because there were lots of grief recovery therapists that were now going out to churches and community centers, and it was for a free lecture. And I remember in the time, she was really taken aback. And now this was not only a client, but also a good friend too. And I remember her saying, "Well, I don't know, you're not part of the church." And it was the first time that I had had that sort of experience that was very not usual for me with that particular person, but a really clear awareness of something that's happened for centuries in society, right? So, even something like grief communication, someone from one's own community can speak about it at this particular church, for example, but it's not limited to that church. It's not limited to one temple. It's not limited to one mosque. There are temples, mosques, and churches that are much more open minded about, wow, our clients are going to our community, our congregation is going to therapists that are all sorts of different religions. So, yes, if you're a therapist that actually understands this and can share it with our community, that's beautiful. And they come from that space. Now, it is quite possible even that woman's space, in terms of her congregation, might have thought that way too. Yet, the perspective that she had was not reflecting that, which was very interesting to me because I think in society so often we are aware of the open minded places, and there's a lot of different, whether religious or spiritual groups that want to hear different perspectives about all sorts of things. And then there are some that are very limited, of not as broad of a perspective. Some people, as practitioners, will do this too. I won't see this sort of client, I won't see that sort of client, but I will limit it to this. And I can understand that in terms of health conditions, when we feel like some condition is out of our ability to work with or our comfort, or it could be a particular personality that's not so comfortable. And so those could be referred out. But when it's because it's a particular type of community or a particular religion that this is something I won't work with, yeah, I'd love for people to do a little bit of self reflection and contemplation about their experience that way. This can happen in companies too. And if you are in a company, you might notice this, that there's a lot of people of this particular culture or this particular religion, but this particular religion is not spoken about, but we don't want those, right? So this is that differentiating between me and them, which is not unity consciousness, right? So if we're thinking about unity consciousness, we're looking at how we can all help each other, period, seeing the commonalities rather than the differences. But that was my contemplation this morning. And of course, I came across a couple of different quotes that I also wanted to share with you. This one is by Confucius, and I love it. It says, "The man who in view of gain thinks of righteousness, who in the view of danger is prepared to give up his life, and who does not forget an old agreement, however far back it extends, such a man may be reckoned a complete man. And I love that quotation too, because really, how far back can we think about when would we have thought that I want to be good to fellow man, right? I want to be kind, I want to be loving, I want to be considerate. And you can see this from infants and children who just don't have any opinions. They haven't developed an ego of opinions and judgments about others, and how easy they are with each other. And then we can compare to adults or uh, much older people who have had lots of experience and lots of thoughts that have developed in particular ways. And unless we're actually consciously thinking about how do I think about things, would I be able to remember this old agreement that I probably made in whether you think of past lives or whether you think of just this life, that yeah, you wanted to love everyone, right? So there was a time where you did. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then finally, I want to end with a quotation by Thomas Jefferson, which I absolutely love, which it says, in matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. In matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. Now, style, I'm going to let you know that I do love classic styles, you might have noticed, but I also like my own style in terms of this might have been in the 80s, but I still enjoy it today and I might still wear it today. Swim with your own style that way too. Make sure you know yourself and know the commonalities that allows us to swim with differences with the current, but in principle, stand like a rock. I wish you a fantastic day ahead. I hope you will contemplate this video for the next 5 minutes and see how you are in terms of your flexibility, your awareness, your righteousness, your kindness, consideration, and love for yourself and others. I wish you a fantastic day, and I hope you remember transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.